I was gonna say, I'm sure you're aware of kind of like all the other stuff, moving parts around the league, Jimmy and all that.
Yeah.
There's some speculation around the league that this is related to that. Have you thought about kind of like you moving on, starting like related to the bigger picture?
If so, I need to be addressed because I hold the cards. So until I'm addressed and somebody says something differently, then we'll get it on.
The Phoenix Suns are the epitome of when the meaning less is more could be applied. They didn't have to trade Chris Paul. Chris Paul right now is averaging in his 20th season 9 points, about 8 assists, a steal. 2 years ago, they still had him on the roster with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. That to me was a perfect balance. A point guard who was going to get your two other stars the ball to score. He's an older guy. He doesn't need to be looking for his shot anymore. But instead, they traded him to go get Bradley Beal. Something that I didn't think was going to work when I first saw it. It's just you have three players who want to all play on the wing. There's no versatility. This is the new NBA, though. You got a bunch of shooting guards, small forwards. You put them out at the three-point line and hope for the best. In the Phoenix Suns case, they thought it was going to work because you did have three elite scorers, and that's really what their main focus is. So they end up doing this trade, and not only that, they took a lot of money in getting Bradley Beal's contract. So that limited them to even add more depth to the roster, which they're still having problems doing right now. Look at it from this perspective. Who would you rather have just on paper when you're looking at the team and the names? Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Chris Paul? Or Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal? Most of y'all would say the latter, what I just mentioned. However, the team with DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker, they went to the NBA Finals in 2021, won 51 games in that regular season out of 72. It was a shortened season due to everything that was going on with COVID. They did a whole lot better than this current Phoenix Suns team that just got swept out of the playoffs by the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Because let's call it what it is. The Phoenix Suns are incredibly talented, but in the eyes of a lot of people in the NBA, they're also incredibly soft. They lack toughness. They have greatness in Kevin Durant. They have greatness in Devin Booker, but they're not considered rough riders. If you get physical with them, you can challenge them mentally. You can compromise them to such a degree. That's the word that is out about them in NBA circles. You know they can score on anybody, but that toughness is an issue.
So maybe what Stephen A. Smith is saying is true, because with all that star power that you have on the roster, there's no way you should get swept by any team, period. And even though I thought it wasn't going to equate to a championship, the talent alone, you matched up with some heart, it's very, very hard to sweep a team like that. But when you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, what are they known for? A very tough, defensive-minded team. They were number one in defense last year for least points allowed when facing other teams. If you look at what happened after in that playoff run, they ended up facing the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, they had their way. Even that tough defensive squad that they had wasn't able to stop that duo. The Phoenix Suns have a trio. I say all that to say, I still lean towards the cohesiveness not being good. At the same time, if somebody leaned towards the team just not being tough enough, I could see that argument being made as well. But to back up my point about the cohesiveness not being good, let me read you a quote from Chris Haynes that was in regards to Nurkic and Bradley Beal being benched. Now there's also tension in that locker room. I'm told certain players are unsure of their roles and frustrated about how they are being used. So this situation will be something to monitor moving forward. No surprise there. Now let's really specifically get into Bradley Beal and what he said in the intro of this clip that I played for y'all.
They absolutely are trying to trade Bradley Beal. And one of the cardinal rules of sports, certainly in basketball, but across the board, is you never devalue your players, your assets. You never do anything bad to make them seem less valuable, especially when you are about to trade them. So they put him on the bench. Now you may say, why would you do that? If you're trying to trade a player, why would you put him on the bench? But they're basically trying to make him feel unwelcome in Phoenix so that he will waive that no trade clause.
Brian Windhorst is absolutely right. This is the thought that came to my mind as soon as I saw that Bradley Beal is now coming off the bench. He's not going to be happy with that. The Phoenix Suns are playing a very diabolical game of chess. And maybe it's not the best moves they're making on the chessboard. And given the answers that Bradley Beal has just said about, yo, I'm the one who got the cards, if you really read in between the lines, he's saying, I know what y'all trying to do. I know what this is about. But at the end of the day, everything runs through me. Bench me if you want. I'm still in control. This is where it looks even more silly on the Phoenix Suns part, because you want to get back as much as you can for an asset like Bradley Beal. What makes it even worse is Bradley Beal's contract is not something that is people want to take on top of you now benching him is going to make it seem like he's very overpaid and he's not giving you that star quality that he once had. Side note, this is why anytime I see a team giving somebody a max contract for whatever period it equates to, given the cap space, it always changes. If that player is not a flat-out superstar, you always end up in this kind of situation where it's hard to trade him after when things don't work out. I could understand Phoenix Suns' thought process, which would be, we have Kevin Durant already, we have Devin Booker, look, let's just pay Bradley Beal or take on that contract, who cares? Again, I'm just going to keep going back to it. I never thought that trio was going to work. It just didn't seem like a good fit. Which is why moving forward, if I was a part of the front office of the Phoenix Suns, I would say let's just blow this up and start over completely. Keep Devin Booker. Not only do you try to trade Bradley Beal, trade Kevin Durant. It's that time, and teams tend to hold on to their players when there's a lot of money invested, hope. You don't want to turn out to be wrong. I have a quote from Matt Ishbia after they got eliminated out of the playoffs, being swept by the Timberwolves, where he said that the narrative that the house is burning is incorrect. As a matter of fact, let me read more of what he actually said during this time, and I quote, "Ask the other 29 GMs, 26 of them would trade their whole team for our whole team and our draft picks and everything as is. The house is not on fire. We're in great position. It's not hard to fix. It's not like we're like, hey, we don't have enough talent to win a championship. We have enough talent to win a championship. Do we have enough continuity? There's a lot of things we can look at. Do we have the right leadership in place?" Fast forward to the new season in 2025. Currently, the Phoenix Suns are 16-18. They're in 12th place in the Western Conference. Continuity is not going to fix injury issues, and also if the roster is poorly constructed, I would say yes, the house is on fire, and it looks like insurance can't cover this one. I'll read you another quote that he said, which I found very interesting. "We're in a great position. Not a good position, a great position. We didn't win an NBA championship, so we're going to figure out what we got to change, what we got to tweak, what we got to improve to be better to win a championship next year. And guess what? We might not win one next year, but we're going to sure as hell try every single year, so get ready for that." I can't even be mad at what he said, man. I get it. He's the owner of a team. You have to sell the product to the public, let everybody know everything is working out smoothly. We're going to get this championship. No worries. I understand what's going on here. Anyways, y'all let me know in the comment section what you think of Bradley Beal coming off the bench, the no trade clause. Are you still believing in this team as is with at least Kevin Durant and Devin Booker? Would you say trade Durant or keep him instead and just move on from Bradley Beal? Or do you think no trade needs to happen? They just got to build on the continuity that HBO was talking about. Let me know how you're seeing things. Like, share, and subscribe. And as always, salute for listening. Peace.